Listen, welcome to POP, Picking Off Punches. I'm here with my doggy dog, my host, the Yiddish gangster, Derek Drescher. What's happening, fool?
What's good, Pa?
Yo, how dope was our first episode?
It was dope. And Wolf was the bomb, bro.
Yo, we were fanning out a little bit.
I was like...
My feet were crossed and shaking like this under the table.
That's how
You know what it is? I'm not only a fan of her as a fighter, but just as a person, she was dope.
As a human being, bro, that's like, I think what really drew me to her. Because I didn't find out who she was until she was training Kirkland. And I saw like an interview, a post-fight interview, and I was like, who is this woman? And when she was talking to him in the corner, she was like, James, you got to eat.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and then just, I mean, I knew about the Vonda Ward knockout, but I didn't put two and two together.
And then having her in person, we got a glimpse of both sides of it. The hardcore trainer and the sweet brown sugar side.
Yeah, all the stuff she does for children. It's a beautiful thing.
She's from New Orleans.
Yeah.
Originally from New Orleans, from Texas. So now we're going to the Midwest. And this week's guest, we got Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Yo, you ever heard we all heard the phrase throwing punches and bunches. That dude embodies that.
Absolutely.
Windmill punch. I mean, I wouldn't say windmill because that looks wild, but I just punches and triplet numbers.
Absolutely.
Triple numbers. Triple digits.
Big combination puncher through and through. Through and through. And tough to boot, man. Took a punch, wasn't afraid to mix it up, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like to mix it up a lot.
Yeah. He's what you call a guy like, take one to give one.
Or take three to give one.
Yeah. He was on some Rocky Balboa shit.
Yeah, bloody nose all the time.
I mean, and then he had that 1980s hair. It was like feathered, like Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah.
Before he walked into the ring, and then after a couple of rounds, he looked like Bret the Hitman Hart.
Right. Good-looking kid. Good-looking kid.
I always find it weird when other men compliment other men about their looks. Tell us a little more about that, Derek.
Yeah, well, I'm a closeted homosexual. Ask and you shall receive.
Yo, POP definitely has a lot of DBS in it. So have fun with it. Be loose. You know, with two comics on the mic, talking boxing. Ohio, Youngstown, Ray Boom Boom Mancini. We are highlighting today. And which, by the way...
Steel City, ran by the mafia. Probably had something to do with his career. So.
That's the first question I'm going to ask him when we have him on. So, besides killing another man, how was it to be involved in the mafia?
Yeah!
And then I adjust my mic.
Yeah.
You're not on, because he's old, too. He's a little older.
He's 60, but he's in good shape. I think
he's in good shape, and he's savvy, man. He's in movies now.
Yeah.
He's good with his money.
Very good. I can't wait to ask him about that.
Boxers are like NFL players, dirtbag with their money.
Like I said, a lot of these guys get rich. They start buying castles. Go broke again, and then you got to be 65 years old, fighting and getting knocked out by an MMA fighter 30 seconds into the first round. Making us look bad.
Yo, for real. Like, there's nothing worse than watching your favorite boxer barefoot.
Bro.
Right? And the octagon flabby with the, come on.
Oh, you talking about James.
I don't want no problems with James. I don't want no problems with James.
He's still trying to fight. He wants to fight Shannon the Cannon.
Yeah, James lights out Tony.
Yep. One of the greatest fighters of our generation, if not of all time. But, yeah.
I fight a little bit like him. If my opponent is a 120-pound female.
Yeah, let's talk about how Sergio was sparring with a 120-pound Asian woman before he got here today.
Well, she got a fight coming up. And I know how to work with people.
Did you knock her out?
I punched her in the chest plate repeatedly. Repeatedly. I did Mancini numbers.
Did you drop
on
her?
The body? I did some Mancini numbers.
I would have gave her a bloody nose, sent her home to her boyfriend like that.
She had a headgear that was mass small. It was like this, and I had the bar I had the headgear with the bar across my face. 12-ounce gloves. I dirtbagged her, bro.
Yo, the bar across the face. I don't like that headgear.
And to see it, we have a throwback fighter we're talking about. Those guys didn't use bars across the face. I mean, when Mancini was fighting, we're talking about this guy was probably at the tail end of doing 15-round fights.
Oh, he did fight at a lot of 15-round fights. He fought when he fought Arguello, he lost in the 14th round.
15
Livingston
rounds.
Bramble, I believe, was a 15-round fight also. So, yeah, this guy is, I believe, the death of, what's his name again?
Duk Koo.
Duk Koo. I believe that is the reason why they started to go away from the 15-rounders and go to 12. I believe that had something to do with it. But we'll find out. We'll ask.
We'll explore.
Well, we'll explore that idea.
Emoji with the magnifying glass. We'll do a little investigating on that end.
Other than that, how's your how you been this past week?
Well, you got me feeling great. So as you know, well, maybe you guys don't know.
Yeah, you know, Marshall, move in, get close to me, Pa.
Okay.
We had to film this intro 4 times because our producer.
So like Mancini fighting Aguayo, 15-round fight, towards the 10th round, he starts to fade out a little bit. And in that case, you need good conditioning, right? You need good team. So you ask how my weekend was. Thanks to you, it's going well because I'm training for the marathon, and you, my friend, are coaching me, and we are trying to get those last 6 miles under control. But my knee is hurting. Like, my name is Deborah, and I'm 75 years old.
Right. You make a lot of excuses.
I don't know why I don't want to come across as misogynistic. I already said I was sparring a female. I already used the name. I used the name Deborah in reference to me having a bad knee. So let's rewind real quick. Like, my name is Seymour, and I'm 77 years old.
Well, the thing is this. I think you're all about equality if you spar with a female.
Yeah.
Me too. I used to spar with the girls all the time. Knock them out.
I just prefer working with women overall because men are dumb.
You know what's funny, though? Sitting with Ann Wolf the other day, I was like, I could feel that if
she'll punch through your chest.
Absolutely.
And relieve all the Newport smoke in your lungs. You ain't better than me just because you brought your banana jewel.
Yeah, bro, I stopped smoking cigs.
Yeah, now you got a banana jewel that's yellow that matches your hat.
Yeah, banana flavor from my Puerto Rican side. You know what I mean?
My man, the Yiddish Boricua.
The thing is, Sergio, you make a lot of excuses during your training. I've had to push you quite a bit.
Yeah, I felt like giving up.
You take more energy from me as a trainee than my clients at the gym.
That's not true.
Than the snowflakes at the gym.
Than the Megans and Kelsey.
You're like, I don't know if I could do this. My knee is bothering me. Should I get a cortisone shot?
I know. I got acupuncture done.
I don't like my shoes.
You think these throwback fighters ever got acupuncture done? Or cortisone shots?
I don't know. Cortisone might have been a thing. Yeah. I'll have to delve into that a little bit. But, you know, to be honest, at your age, a man of...
I'm in a master's class.
Now, your last training run was supposed to be 14, but you decided to do 13.
You think Mancini would have did that? No, he goes all the way through.
No, and that's why you're not going to hit your goal time. No, you'll do it. Because you hitting your goal time is a reflection of me, right? So if you hit it, I'm going to post it on social media.
Am I going to see you at the end of the race with your arms crossed, sitting on a lawn chair with flip-flops and ankle socks on?
Cigarette hanging out of my mouth.
Cat hair on your feet.
Yo.
I can see. And you know what? You'll be there before my wife and daughter will be there. You know why? Because they don't care.
Right.
My daughter will be laying on her belly with her feet crossed playing Roblox before she comes to the race.
Your daughter's like, why are you running 26 miles? It's stupid.
She's like, why are you doing that again? Playing the video games.
Is Liz supportive of you?
Yes, she is.
Running the marathon?
Last time she had a photographer follow me.
The whole race?
The whole race. He was on a unicycle. His name was Zero.
This is why I can't.
Wait, tell me. Their name was Zero because they didn't identify. Their name was Zero, and they rode a unicycle.
And he was
flashing.
They was a they.
It was a they.
It was a they.
Yeah.
They
and they didn't accept currency.
So wait, they was taking pictures of you?
Oh, POP, we're getting dirty.
Picking off punches,
baby. So Ray Mancini, I think I know his niece, and she's hot.
Really?
Yeah, man, his niece. She's a sweetheart. Her name is Christina. I'm gonna ask him if I remember. I actually had her in the gym, and she said, "Ray, Boom Boom Mancini is my uncle." I was like, "Oh, dope, man! Well, what an exciting fighter!"
You got to be careful with those people.
Why?
The Italians. Just be.
When I first met you, I thought you were Italian.
Me? Why?
Because you talk a lot of shit.
Whoa,
yo!
I don't have an accent like that. I don't talk like that.
Well, you talk like you're black.
Yo!
Well, you're raised in East New York, right? And you spend how many years in prison? In the
7.
prison
I did
system?
7 years in prison. I haven't worked out since March. It's August. Look at me. You want to know why? I went through physiological changes while I was incarcerated to protect myself. And that's how we roll.
Yo,
I don't even have to work out.
What's the diet like in jail? I mean,
shitty.
You're giving us a allotted amount of food.
It's just you're given a lot of amount of food.
No,
Is that what
allotted.
And allotted.
Yeah.
That's a big word.
Yeah, and I felt good using it. I wrote it down on my to-do list.
Watch yourself.
Yeah. I'm talking like a dude who came out of prison.
Yeah, so you're served the bare minimum. Yeah, you're talking like a dude just came out of prison.
Yeah, and my posture
was
is that.
allotted a certain amount of nutrition.
And why guys
daily.
I could tell you just came out of prison because when we go for our poke bowls after pop, you always protect your food. You got very wide with your lats.
Yeah, because motherfuckers just try to take my food.
Nah,
Yeah.
dudes try to eat your food?
Absolutely. You got to let it be known that you ain't going to stand for that type of behavior.
Did you stab a dude in the ass cheek for trying to steal a Snickers bar?
No, it was a bag of Cheetos, actually. I stabbed a man in the ass over a bag of Cheetos.
And as you wave your fingers and tell the stories, your fingers reek of cheese doodles.
I know. I just licked them clean, actually. You know what's funny?
And meanwhile, we have fancy water here at the studio. He could have just used this. But yet you decide to use your mouth.
Why?
Because
Because I'm a barbarian. I'm savage. Nobody's cut from my cloth. You know what I'm saying? That's how I roll. But yeah.
Would you consider Mancini one of the gentlemen of boxing? I think he has some class. I think
Oh, he's very.
we're gonna find
In
out
his
today.
interviews, he's very classy. Very, very classy. Absolutely. And he has a good control of the language, the English language. Probably better than me and you.
We'll see about that.
Or you and I.
You and I.
Excuse me. Yeah, but I'm excited to have him on. So many
I'm always
questions I wanna
fascinated
ask
by
him.
guys like that because, like Paulie Malignaggi, he may have went to school. I'm not sure, but Paulie Malignaggi had like a GED,
Right.
and that guy speaks well. He speaks like 3 different languages:
He speaks Italian. He speaks
Spanish
Spanish,
and English.
Ebonics.
Ebonics.
Yeah, we might have to cut
Ebonics.
that one out. Right.
Nah, we're leaving all this shit in. Anyway, you guys ready for the guest?
Yo, he's coming on now?
Yeah, we got him. We got him on the Zoom. We got Boom Boom on the Zoom.
Boom, boom on the Zoom. Let's get it
bring him
cracking.
on. Are you wearing a robe? Oh, that looks like
I tell you what, because I got done working out. When you guys come here, it hasn't been a workout. I forgot the time, and I apologize. So I did
wish
the
I could
workout.
I wish
and
I could
had
touch it.
a rush to put on the robe. I feel like in my natural element. You know what I mean?
I like
Sweaty.
it, man.
I'm looking ragged, but that's all right. And I got my robe on, so I'm ready to go.
Is that the Versace robe?
Is that chinchilla?
Yeah. I think it's that cotton sticky, itchy cotton that you get at the TJ Maxx. I don't know.
I think you're being humble. I like that robe. That's the way Derek moves around the streets. He wears his pajama clothes in the streets
Yep.
to go to ShopRite.
I got the same exact robe. That's how I roll around. Throw my house shoes on, go get my cigarettes, go back upstairs.
Yeah, no, exactly. Look, in all respect, like when I got my pajamas, I just throw on some of my joggers or tee, and I go to Starbucks and I go to, like you said, I go to the store. Man, when it's a lazy day, I ain't got nowhere to go. I ain't getting dressed up for nobody.
Yeah.
But but my wife always tells me, but what if you see somebody out? I go, I see him. She goes, well, they expect to meet Ray Mancini. I said, they are meeting Ray Mancini. Yeah, but they're expecting to meet Ray Mancini, like the guy who's supposed to be the public guy. I go, well, this is the total package: the good, the bad, and the ugly. You're going to get the bad and the ugly.
They're gonna get Ray with flip-flops on and ankle socks.
Yeah, no, can't do that. That shit went out. How long ago did that go out? But I tell you too, right? That shit went out with Winchester Cathedral. I see people that still do that. I go, yo, come on, man. I mean, that's my kids used to do that in high school. Come on,
Ray, I got something to admit. I still move around like that.
Puerto Ricans like to move around like that. Puerto Ricans.
The Boricua!
Ray, can I ask you to do one thing? Can you just put your camera down on something sturdy? Because right now I feel like I'm watching a Blair Witch Project.
I'm trying to do that because
take your time.
Okay,
we have time if you have time. Just set it somewhere.
No. Let me get something here. I'm gonna tell you what. All right, let me try this.
Yeah, because I want you to be
first
comfortable.
I got the. No. See, because I had to put
There we go.
Yeah.
The reason why I was holding it in my hand because I had the charger in because it's coming down. So if it starts getting lower, I'll have to recharge it and hold my hand again like that.
It's all
but right
good.
now we're
Now we good. We good for that now. Well, so we watched. I watched a few of your fights recently, and holy shit, man! I've always been a fan of you since way back in the days.
Thank you.
Then recently,
Thank you.
I started revisiting some YouTube clips, and holy shit, you were so much fun to watch. I mean, you will go up and down. You embody the phrase punches and bunches.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, look, I mean, I was fortunate that that style was my natural. It's just, since I was an amateur, I was an aggressive kid. My boxing style, I wanted to be reminiscent of my father. How he was my hero, my idol, everything I wanted to be as a fighter, as a father, as a man, and that was my father's style. But I tell people, you're born, it's like you're born to be fighters. I mean, fighters are born; they're not made. You can't make a guy be. You either have the fighting spirit or you don't. And I'm not saying we're anything special. It's just like some guys are made to be doctors, some guys may be scientists, some guys may be fighters. And I tell people, you don't pick fighting. Fighting picks you. It's like when you go to dog pound, you pick out a puppy. The puppy picks you, right? You can't. Oh man, here we go. Jesus, man, you're gonna get this. I apologize.
No, it's fine.
I should. Anyhow, you can't. I gotta turn this off somehow.
I haven't heard a real life answer machine like that since the 1980s.
Yeah.
You're a true throwback.
My wife said the same thing. My wife says you gotta get rid of it. Nobody has that anymore. I said, well, I don't want if I don't want people calling my cell phone I use that for business purposes mainly. If they want to get to me, they get to that, and then I'll get back to them. And then here's my cell. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't want people just calling just to call. Come on, man.
I wish. Well, you know what would have made that answer machine even better? If you would have had some house music playing in the background.
Oh, hey, you appreciate? Recently, I ran into a girl.
Who's this girl, Ray? Don't get yourself in trouble. Who's this girl, Ray?
No. My wife said I was with my wife. I'm at a place. She goes, Ray, how you doing? I go, hey, how you doing? I had no clue, right? And she goes, oh my God. She goes, no, nice to see you. It's been years, blah, blah, blah. And my wife's looking at me and I go, I don't have no clue. But here's the thing. She says, I remember back in the day. Now this I know she must know way back. I remember back in the day when we used to call your house, you had the answering machine and it picked up, you reached the ambassador of love. I said, oh yeah, man, that was like 1983, 1984. You reached the ambassador of love, baby. That's the ambassador.
That must have been fun.
I even forgot I had that. I even forgot I had ambassador of love, baby. Love's in the air.
That's hilarious. So you said with your pops, you said you kind of adopted that fighting style. Would you say your father fought the same way and you kind of were trained that way?
Well, my father fought, my father was a fighter in the 30s and 40s. A lot of people know. Then won contender in the world from 1942 to 1944. Signed to fight for a world title in January of 42. February 42. Got drafted in January 42. Had to go into the service. Never got a chance to fight for the world title. And got shot up in a battle of Metz, and came back. Never expected him to live. Eventually came back. And they never expected him to walk because he had so much shrapnel throughout his body. Came back, eventually came back to fight. But he went in number one lightweight contender, came out of middleweight. So my father, I always heard about my father could have been world champion if it wasn't for World War II, right? So that's why when people say to me when I was a little boy, what do you want to be when you grow up? I say I want to be a fighter world champion for my father. But the funny thing is, going back to what you asked me, everybody used to talk about how my father's style, how he kept coming. My father used to say, Raymond, I never took a backward step, but sometimes I wish I did. And here's the one thing I'm proud of. My father, at over 100 professional fights, was never knocked out or stopped in any fight. Now, there's only a couple fighters of that era. Kid Gavilan, Billy Graham, only a few, maybe more, but were never stopped or knocked out. That was a top contender. My father was one of them, man. And so I tried to be that because, first of all, I think you're born with, you're born
tenacity.
with a certain tenacity, certain ingrained skill or that you get. But then some things I want, and then some I wanted to be. So I, kept coming forward. And then sometimes I said, man, he's a better man than me, because sometimes you got to take a step backwards. And my father, when he used to ask him about me, he'd say, No, he comes forward, but he's a better. He said he's more intelligent than I was. He said he can box when he wants to. He's much more intelligent. So if I had to, I could box, but that wasn't what was going to get me to the world title. And when I won the world title, wasn't what was going to hold on to the world title. You know what I mean? I had to maintain my strength, my aggression, and then when I had to box, I could box. But look, if you don't have to get into a firefight, there's no need to.
I got to commend
the guy
you.
the easiest way.
But two things. The kind of fighter you were, I mean, you have your faculties. You are clear, articulate. I mean, you look great, man. So props to you because it's not always like that. It's not always like that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, and I appreciate that.
No long-lasting, sustained
Well, the one thing I always
you look great, man. You sound great.
Well, I appreciate it. One thing I tell people, the one thing I'm most proud about my career is I can still spell fight. I can still spell it. But I say that half jokingly because so many guys can't. Now, going back to what you said, my style, right? Usually, my style is not made for a long career. So I sacrifice longevity to make my score, make my money.
That's the thing, man. People love.
But I was fortunate. I only fought 5.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I only fought 5.5 years as a pro. And why the reason I clarified that is I've talked to enough neurologists, brain surgeons. Every year I go get the brain study in Las Vegas. It's at Cleveland Clinic, Las Vegas. They started for fighters. Then they went to football players. And every year I've been doing it for the last 5 years. And I get the typical Mr. Mancini, we found nothing in there. I said, yeah, I know. Not even a brain. I got it. So it's all good. So far, so good. No scarring of the tissue. No spots or anything on the brain. So it's all good. And when you go in there, you have to do a reaction test, a balance test, neurological test. And then they put you to do in the tube for an MRI. So far so good. And I want to know that stuff. Look, if there's something, God forbid, something's going on, and I can take a supplement to help, fight it.
How old were you when you started to fight amateur?
That's what I'm going to do. 15.
15?
Yeah, I'd be 16 to fight Golden Gloves. I was turning 16 in March, and I started a couple of months before. So I was 15 actually when I had my first amateur fight. Yeah.
And during that entire time, was your pops also training you during the amateurs? Oh, good.
Okay.
So
you asking about my
Yeah, your pops, did he train you during your amateur and your pro career?
No, my father never trained me. Which my father always said, Raymond, a father shouldn't be in a son's corner. He said, there was a good amateur trainer, one of the best. My father knew him very well, and he let him handle me. Bob Arum, to this day, Bob Arum tells people, if you want to know the best fight father, Ray Mancini's father. He was a former fighter, and he let, one thing I learned in business, one of the smartest things I learned in business, let those who do, right? I don't do what you do, you don't do what I do. Bob Arum said that he let those who everyone do their job, and he stayed out. He was just a father. And that's what the problem is. My father said, Raymond, a father should never be in a son's corner, because what happens is emotions take over. Emotions take over instead of, a thought process. And either you're going to be I'm going to be a father, you're going to be my son, or we're business partners. That usually don't work. Now, there's a few guys who made it work.
Yeah, but it's very rare. And I'm so glad you cleared that up for me, because I came in thinking that was the relationship. But the thing is, your father's such a big part of your story with being a former fighter, and you kind of dedicating your title to him and that sort of thing. So I've always tied that in. But it's interesting to learn that, But I know that.
Well, it's funny you say that, because people thought he was my trainer, just like you said, because he was always in the front row. Right. And they show him. But if I was always front row, him and my mother, but near my corner, but there was a spectator.
Let me ask you this: I can't think of many father-son relationships in the fight game that worked. Shane Mosley and his father didn't seem to work.
Roy Jones and his father.
Roy Jones and his father didn't seem to work.
No, the only one that's working, and it's an anomaly. Please believe me, is Sean Porter and Kenny Porter. That's the only one I know that so far. Because one thing is, Sean loves his father, respects his father, and he trusts his father. See, like for instance, Floyd Mayweather never trusted his father. You know what I mean? To handle because his father was away when Floyd started out, and it was his uncle who trained him.
Right.
And then when the old man got out of the can, he wanted to be the trainer. So it's hard to start off with one guy. Then the guy comes in who wants to take over. It's hard to trust him. You know what I mean? And look, another one that works pretty good is Danny Garcia and his father. You know, Danny Garcia.
His father
and his father worked pretty good.
His father's a character. Who,
yeah.
Danny? Yo, Danny is going to knock out anybody. He got the best hook in the game.
Yeah.
Danny?
See?
And you talk about
Puerto
it. You
Ricans.
talk like him.
Puerto
No,
Ricans.
no what?
That's your Boricua. That's your primo. Supremo.
I'm going to tell you right now, I think Danny won that fight. You think what you want, but I think the judge was paid off. Danny won that fight.
So you were a young, good-looking guy, and you had like this love affair with the crowd, right? And the crowd, everybody loved you. Now, when you fought Arguello, did you? That was your first loss, right? Did you feel like you learned a lot from that fight, from being in there with him?
I learned more from that one loss than the other 20 victories. And after that fight, I knew I'd be world champion because I knew I had what it took. Just experience took over. You know, people always say, and look, there's no greater teacher than experience. You know, Einstein, right? You didn't know I could quote Einstein, did you? Einstein was once asked, of all your teachers, who's been your greatest teacher? He said, experience has been my greatest teacher. And that's probably most of us, right? So after that fight, I felt like Alexis Arguello. I used to love watching Alexis. He was one of my heroes but growing up, right? I remember when he beat Ruben Olivares for the featherweight title, and he went to LA and beat him. I remember when he beat Escalera that was on Wild World Sports in San Juan. I remember when he beat Jim Watt over in England for the title, right? But I had beat the number 6 contender. I beat the number 3 contender. I got the opportunity. What are you going to say? No, man. To be the best, you want to fight the best. And that's what the best. And I really felt confident I could beat him. I felt my strength, my youth would be able to overcome his experience. But I was wrong. So after that fight, though, I knew I'd be world champion. You know, I was always hoping for a rematch with Alexis. I was hoping Alexis had moved up. Then he fought Arguello. Prior later on. So, and it never materialized. But Alexis Arguello, one of the top 50 fighters of all time, and in 110, one of the top 10 Latino fighters of all time. And the reason I clarified that is because we know how many great Latino fighters there have been through the years. And he's won top 10, and that's a great accomplishment.
Absolutely.
But one of the top 50 greatest fighters of all time also. Yeah.
Now you've knocked out. Did you fight for the title of your next fight, or was it like, did you have 2 more fights before you beat?
No, I had 2 fights after. I fought Alexis October 3rd of 81. Now, one thing I'm proud of also is, you know, I got beat. I was hurt. I mean, mentally. I was hurt. I felt let my family down. I felt let the city down. But I told my manager, get me right back in there. And so a couple of weeks I healed up. I was back in the gym. And I fought the day after Christmas, December 26th. I fought on ESPN, and I fought a tune-up. They say a tune-up, but look, no fights are tune-up. They get guys that can fight. You can't be fighting for a world title and go fight a guy that's just nobody. So I fought a kid, a tough Mexican kid, Luis Manuel Abadoy. Tough guy, wasn't on the periphery of contender. He wasn't a top 15, 20. But it was a right to fight. But I knocked him out in the second round. And then I fought a month later in January 23rd. I defended my North American title. I'm back on CBS against Dominicano.
What a name, Dominicano. What a name. And that's crazy.
Dominicano. And
that's crazy how
he
you
was
guys
a real
fought so
slick fighter.
frequently.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a month later.
Yeah, and then I fought. Well, that's what I'm saying. And then I fought May for the title. So the one thing I'm proud of, going back to what I was saying, is I only fought 5.5 years as a pro. 30, but I had 32 fights in 5 years. But the one thing is, not a lot of new fights, but not a lot of years. But that's one average 6 a year. But the one thing I'm very proud of, from being a champ of May of 82 to June of 84, I had 7 title defenses in 24 months. That's one every 3 months. That's the reason I retired so young, because I got burned, but I got burned out. I made my money. My style is not made for a long career. I know that. I was always in training camp. There was a period of time I was in training camp 44 out of 48 weeks. My body was tired. I was satisfied. I had a good career, but it was time to shut it down, man, and move on. Time, it's one chapter of my life. It's one chapter. There's other chapters I wanted to write. So I moved on.
Wow.
So I was 24
It's an
when I
impressive
retired.
career. I mean, you fought some amazing fighters. And also the emotional toll. You say you're breaking down, right? In the short span of 5 years. That's wild to comprehend. What was it? 36 fights, if I'm not, and 5. That's crazy to think of. And also, and I know you probably get this a lot, and with all due respect, that Kim Duk Koo fight, emotionally, the toll it must have taken on you. After that fight, he sustained, injuries that resulted in his death. How did you get through that? Like, I want to know how did you get through, like, therapy-wise?
Well, first I got through my faith, my trust in Christ. My faith, prayed. I had one of my dearest, closest friends. You have to say I'm on procure school 12 years. So I'm a good Catholic. So one of my dearest friends was an old teacher of mine, but he was at all my fights. His name was Father Tim O'Neill. And before every fight, him and my father, they were the only two guys allowed back into my dressing room. And they'd be there till it was time, like 10 minutes. They say, okay, 10 minutes. And they go out to my father would give me a hug and a kiss. And Father O'Neill would say a blessing on me and always give me some sort of strength, comfort. And that's what got me through is my faith, and the good Lord. I don't, look, I understand growing up, we learn, we're taught that the good Lord, not everything's always going to be answered to us. You ask, you pray, you ask questions, and the good Lord answers in His own time. So, I don't know why things happen, for me. Why did things happen to me and why, whatever. I don't question why.
Yeah.
I always say, why not? Why should I be exempt? Everybody has, everybody got to cross the bear, figuratively,
There's something, I got to say, there's something about your spirit and persona that kind of displays just what you said. Without you telling me, I feel that. And that's your body of work as a fighter, from all the interviews I've seen.
Thank you.
From everything, from even the films from the book I read. So I have to say, I bring that up, but in no way does it define your career, just as boxing doesn't define your life. You're so much more.
No, thank you.
It's such a positive.
Thank you, and I appreciate
you're such a positive figure. So I appreciate all you've done, man. No, it's the truth.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. That's very kind of you. But it's funny. But it's funny what you said. What you said is very accurate, though. I tell people, when I fought, when I mean by accurate, not all the nice things you're saying, that ain't what I meant. Here's what I'm talking about. When I fought for righteous reasons. I fought I loved the sport. I wanted to be a fighter since day one, as I told you. I wanted to be my father. I wanted a chance to win that title for him. I love boxing. Everything about it, I loved it. After the Kim fight, there was no love. It became a business. It became a business, strictly a business then. And I just won I had won the title. I had the opportunity to get my financial security. I prayed a lot. I didn't know if I wanted to come back. And Father O'Neill is the one who helped me the most. And he said to me one day, look, Ray, if you're asking me if I want to see you fight again, I said, yeah, I want to see you fight again. Because I think God gave you a special talent. And I think if you retired, you'd be denying not only God that talent, you'd be denying the people this talent. And I had to decide when I move forward.
Basically.
Would I be able to, if I had a guy hurt, would I be able to take him out? If I had a guy hanging on, would I be able to go after him? And I thought, yeah, and I did. And I just, but I was looking for the door. I was looking for the door after that fight.
What do you think about the state of boxing right now?
Boxing's in a strange place. You said it. But boxing is a very strange place. The best aren't fighting the best. They're not fighting as often. There's no, fighters can't develop a legacy. They can't, because the only guy that can develop a legacy right now is Canelo, because he's fighting on a regular basis. He always did. And you got to admire that. And he fought, 3, 4, 5 times a year when nobody's doing that. And so you can't.
I love. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I love that he's learning English, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
he's like,
motherfucker. Hey, when he was yelling at Caleb Plant. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. You got a better impersonation.
Motherfucker.
Shut the fuck up right now, motherfucker.
I don't know, man. I think he runs through Plant. I don't think Plant has the experience or the durability. I don't think that's a tough fight
I think
for
he
Plant.
stops him with a body shot. I think that's
Well, you know what? I worked with when I worked with Fox a couple years ago. I get to know Caleb very well. I didn't become friends with him. I love Caleb. He's a great guy. Hell of a fighter.
He is a great fighter.
But hell
I
of a
think
fighter.
it's different levels.
Well, what you're saying is valid. I love this kid's confidence. He believes enough in himself and it's tremendous. But like you said, I don't believe he has. The biggest thing is he can fight technically wise. He knows, the difference. He ain't got the punch to keep Canelo off of him. You got to be able to hurt Canelo. Canelo, you're not going to stop him coming forward. And I don't think Caleb has the firepower to keep him off. So that's going to be the problem.
Right.
So acting-wise, what do you got going on? Because the screen likes you, and it seems like you enjoy doing it. What's on the horizons for that?
We got a couple of projects. I hired Craig to direct the next two projects I have, and one of them was with the same writer, at 645, Richard. And then I got another project. So one's a psychological thriller like 645, but I even think it's different and even maybe a little bit better. But 645 was great. And then I got another one that's a crime drama in the world of EDM. You guys know that. I know you know that EDM, electronic dance music. You look like I know you like to do a little salsero. You like to do that thing in there. You look like a salsero, baby. Oh yeah, chico, come on. So, but I'm not but it's the project is here's the one-liner. It's Saturday Night Fever meets The Sopranos.
I like it.
So that's a project. That's the next project we're looking to do. Hoping to shoot early next year, and then at the end of next year shoot the psychological thriller. So. I think being our friend Craig, and I hope to be working with you, my friend. I hope we'll be working together again. With Marshall, my friend Marshall. Marshall, if you're listening, I'm hoping
shout out
with you
to Marshall for putting this together. We got Ray Boom Boom Mancini in the building. On the Zoom.
Now, I want you to know. I want you to know. I always got a lot of love from the Latin community, always, right? But you have to understand. Yo hablo español porque mi primera esposa es cubana. Mi hijo, su nombre es italiano, pero su sangre es cubano.
This guy.
So my kids are Cuban, right? My kids are Cuban, and so when I say that to all the primos, I go, yeah, mi hijos es cubano. Bravo, how they give that shit. But I'm going to do you one better yet. I have a granddaughter yet, right? So my daughter is a cubana italiana, but su padre, mi nieta, is
nice.
So there we go.
You're the man. I'm annoyed. I gotta admit.
I love Viola Negro. Rockafolio. Juca. Oh man. Hey, real fast. When I go to Miami, it's not Miami. When I get off the plane, I start talking like Tony Montana. I get off the plane. Oye, chico, ¿cómo está? No, man. You so Italiano, man.
Yo, this guy multi-talented. You speak better Spanish than I do, man. Jesus,
I'm half Puerto Rican too. I don't know anything. I know 3 words.
Sergio, my daughter says, "Papi, habla inglés." I said, "Oye, mommy, I'm trying. Maybe I'm trying. I try from my primos.
Last couple of things, Boom Boom. Let me ask you. So when you were coming up in the boxing scene, did you? And because everyone hears about like the darkness in it, with was there any hidden agenda from like the mob trying to infiltrate what you had going on,
especially in Youngstown, right? The mob was big there, right?
No, yeah, right. Look, we were very heavily connected. Why we're the only city of our size controlled by 2 major families, Cleveland and Pittsburgh. And I knew on the way up, I knew everybody that knew me, but they never won anything from me. They were always proud of me,
right?
And that's what I always appreciate. They always just proud of me. They came to my fights. Between fights, I'd hang out with them. We'd have go have drinks. See, the thing about Youngstown is we go sit at a bar. You're doing a podcast. This guy's a city official. This guy's a lawyer, and I'm a fighter. But we all got different. We all got jobs, just different jobs, right? We all carry our lunch pail to the job, just different jobs. So that's the thing about Youngstown. That's part of the fabric. Like a lot of places, the guys are next. It's the guys next door, and like in Brooklyn or whatever. It's just part of the fabric. And but they're good people, man. They treat me good. Is all I know. They treat me good. We're good people. It just as long as their business doesn't conflict with
I
mine.
wanted to ask you this. So, yeah, you were able to manage your money well throughout your career. And how do you feel when you see an older fighter who's almost like 60 having to fight like an MMA guy just to pay the bills?
I hate to see my favorite boxers barefooted in the octagon. I don't want to see them with dirty feet in the octagon.
Look, I know I know that you're talking about Evander, who lately did that. I don't know how much he need. Look, we know how much money he made. We know how much money he went through. Hey, he enjoyed his money. I'm not so sure how bad he needs it now. I think he does okay, but it's a money grab. And so if you're offering a guy like X amount of $1 million guarantee that you can make X amount more, I guess he did it. But he embarrassed himself. He embarrassed himself. So I got offered around Christmas time to come back to do one of these fights, right? And the guy said to me, hey, promoter out of Vegas, real promoter. I've known him a long time. He said, hey, did you see Tyson Jones? I said, yeah. He said, what did you think? I said, not much. I said, look, I guess it was entertaining. It wasn't for me, but I guess it was. I said, look, God bless him, man. I'm happy for him, guys. But, he says, well, would you be considering doing that? I go, let me tell you something. Not only would I not want to do it, I wouldn't want to watch it. Who wants it? I said, look, but now this was like I said, December. I just turned 60 in. He said, we could do it late summer. I said, but I'm going to be 60 years old back then. Do you understand? Boxing is a young man's sport. It's a young man's sport. And that's what I said. Not that I wouldn't want to do it. I don't want to watch. I would want to see the two old men. Oh, you wouldn't believe who would want to do it. Oh, it's I get it, all the nostalgia. I get it. We all got that nostalgic bone in our. I get it when the Rolling Stones still playing. I get it when these old groups, that look like they were back. I was a big rocker back in the day. Some of them you still see them. I get them, but man, some of them look like The Walking Dead. So I don't know if I want to see that. I want to remember the sound of the records. I remember back in the day. I don't remember seeing them now because they look like they're propped up. Right. Just going through the motions. So my point being is, if I wouldn't want to watch that, why would I want to watch two old fighters try to throw punches at each other? Why? It's a young man's sport. There's enough young blood. I want to see the young blood. What? There's enough young blood, a lot of talented
Which brings me
fighters
to my next question. Who's your favorite fighter now? And also, what do you think is the most important characteristic or attribute for a fighter? So who's your favorite fighter coming up, and what's the most important thing a fighter needs to have?
Well, I love this kid, and unfortunately he just got beat his last fight, but I love this kid. He's a true champion, Leo Santa Cruz. I love it. He got knocked out by Tank Davis, who's one of my other favorite fighters. But he moved up. He challenged Tank Davis. He challenged himself. He moved up the weight. Tank, nobody was doing that, but he did. So I love Leo Santa Cruz. I love this kid Tank Davis, man. I love this kid Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys come to fight. You know what I mean? They bring the heat, man. They bring the fire, and they're fun to watch. I like watching Errol Spence. I just wish that that fight would have been made. Sean Porter's always, what you're buying when you watch Sean Porter. You know what you're buying.
Yeah.
I love this kid in a way.
He can punch.
The Japanese kid in a way.
Yeah.
A fight, they call him the monster. He's undefeated, moving up and knocking everybody out. So, there's a lot of great fighters out there right now. We're strong. The boxing's going to be moving forward. A lot of great talent. I just wish the opportunity to see these guys more. Would I have to be pay-per-view or something like that? Put them on national TV, man. That's the thing. When I was working with Fox a couple years ago, we brought boxing back on a national network, prime time, and we did great ratings. I just wish it would.
I love the fact that was an option for that short period of time. Last thing, what do you think is the most important attribute, characteristic for a fighter to have?
Two things. One don't go out without the other. My father taught me a long time ago. You got to have a lot of heart. Obviously, there's courage, your heart. Because if you got no heart, you ain't going nowhere. But this don't go. It goes hand in hand with this. You got to have a good chin. Because you can have a lot of heart, no chin, you're taking a lot of ass whoopings. You're going to take a lot of, no, that's the truth. You're going to take a lot of ass whoopings, got kids coming, and you're going to get hurt. But if you have a good chin and no heart, you ain't going nowhere anyway. They go hand in hand. You got to have the kid. I'm all about character. Character of a fighter. Having a chin, having a lot of heart, that's showed that you got to have a lot of character. The character of a fighter is so important, man. You got to be able to have that intestinal fortitude, that dig down deep when you're hurt, when your body's hurting, when you don't think you can go anymore. You find that extra ounce of strength to move forward. That's that intestinal fortitude, and that's a special talent, and that's all. That's that character, man.
Yeah.
You got to have that character.
That is awesome, man. Thank you so much for your time. You are the man.
Take care, Ray.
Thank you. My primos! Yeah, my boy!
And that
Ray
is
Mancini.
it, folks. Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Your thoughts, Derek, immediately after
just
that.
to be honest with you, man, like Ray Mancini was one of my father's favorite fighters. He was spoken about very highly in my household growing up. My father always said, you got to see Ray Boom Boom Mancini. And, I love listening to these fighters talk, man.
You think your father would be proud of you now? Because he's sure not proud of your comedy career.
My father doesn't think I'm funny. Right.
But your father's supportive of you. He supported your boxing.
He did. I remember he came to one of my fights. He was the only voice I heard. I heard he went, the only thing you're hitting is gloves, kid.
He said kid after?
Yeah, he said, kid, you're only hitting gloves, kid. You're only hitting gloves,
Was that a voice
kid.
of comfort, or did it discourage you?
It made me want to knock the guy out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because what we got from Ray is that his father gave him juice. And it's interesting to learn.
Not my father. I want to knock the guy. I was
That's what I
standing
mean.
across.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But so it gave you some
And I
juice.
I did knock him out.
I don't believe you have any footage of this.
I absolutely have footage.
Oh, let's get some Derek Dresser footage, amateur footage with your head getting mad big.
You know what's funny is I knock guys out with the headgear and the big gloves.
You think you and Wolf training camp style now?
I'm just saying. I scored a lot of knockdowns in amateurs. That just will go to show you.
That your physical makeup.
My physical
and
makeup
your bone
is
density.
Yeah, it's very strong and above average.
So I found it very interesting that Ray wasn't trained by his father.
I know.
So the research you did was incorrect.
I did incorrect research. No, but the thing is, all the pictures, you look at all the pictures, his father's in the ring, his father's right there. But he was definitely, I didn't get to ask him, I'm pretty sure he was in the gym from time to time. But it was just great to hear him talk, man. He's not only was he a great fighter, great human being.
You could just tell. And I think we're going to attract a lot of these figures, the people that we're interested in, that we're highlighting. They got a lot of character. Not just great fighters, but great people.
Great people.
You know,
and that's what we want to do. We want to dig in a little deeper than that.
Yeah.
I don't want to ask him, so in the second round against, what I mean?
The pride of Youngstown, Ohio. He was the emblem of a working class city, and he embodied that. And, he said it in the interview. They'll be in a bar. He was the fighter. There was like a welder, and there was like, this
a criminal.
Yeah. Why you always have to involve criminal behavior into the
because I'm a reformed criminal. That's why. And I'm coming back from it right now.
And you're coming back strong.
It's
like
heavy
it.
on the mind, kid.
You're coming back strong.
Heavy on the mind.
We're coming back strong. That's POP, picking off punches. I'm your boy, Sergio Chacon. We got the Yiddish G, Derek Dresser in the house. What a fantastic episode. That's number 2 for your ass. We're out of here. Soundlines, Be Frank Network. Be sure to subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. We're coming out. We're coming strong. And number 3 is going to be in your face sooner than later.
Follow us on Instagram.
All that good stuff.
And me, not Sergio.